Und es ist so ein guter Alkoholersatz, finde ich.
Das stimmt. Viele Drinks, die du magst, sind bitter.
Ja, ich mag bitter generell sehr gerne.
Generell als Geschmacksrichtung meinst du?
Ich bin ein großer Bitter-Fan.
Mhm.
Auch als Stimmung großer Fan.
Ja, fair enough.
Auch Verbitterung. Grandios.
Amen. Es ist auch sehr ungewöhnlich, dass ich nicht nachsalzen muss.
Hervorragend.
Ja, ich mag das.
Mhm.
Das gefällt mir. Ich salze oft nach. Eigentlich immer. Außer wenn ich selber koche. Because I know the Salz.
Ja, oh, bist du süß. Oh. Hello, little friend. Little nipple. Oh, good little nipple. Oh. 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 I'm sorry I don't get sick.
Weißt du noch, wie lecker unsere Mini-Spar...
Ich mochte es in dem einen Video, ich weiß gar nicht, ob es 1 oder 2 Videos, ich glaube, oder sogar 3 schon ago war. Da hast du mal Afra gefilmt und dann hat deine Mom random auch was gesagt. Irgendwas richtig Lustiges auch noch.
Irgendwann hat sie mal, da hat Fenchel so gebuddelt.
Ja.
Dann weißt du, wie lange ich brauche, um das umzugraben? Das war die sehr witzig.
I wanted to talk about knitting because I haven't done that in a while, and as you can see I am wearing one of my finished objects. It's this ribbed turtleneck shirt because it doesn't have long sleeves. I think that qualifies it as a shirt. This is what it looks like in its full glory. I think it turned out pretty much perfect. The fit is really good. A tiny bit of a critique from myself is that I didn't do short rows. Now there is a bit of a tendency to do this, but I don't really mind that much because that is kind of a flattering fold, I think. I could also probably block it in a way that cancels out this like fold that probably happens when I move too much, but I don't really care, to be honest. It is quite fitted, but it's not like super tight. It's still like there's still some ease to it, and I don't feel restricted in any way. So I am more than happy with how this turned out. The yarn I used is Filcolana Merci, which is a 50-50 blend of cotton and merino. So it is wearable for warmer temperatures, I think. I haven't tried it, but I did knit another top with this yarn and I wore this throughout summer last year and it was fine, so I think this will be fine as well. So that's the finished object that I can show. I don't think I have anything else to show, but I did start new projects. I forgot this is knit with 3mm needles. The first thing I've started is this top. It's going to be a t-shirt, and there are the sleeves. And I used this type of construction where you cast on in the back and shape the shoulders from the back and knit to the front, then join in the front and knit down and then join in the round. I really like this type of construction, especially for oversized pieces, and I want this to be a bit oversized but not too much. I have a tendency to do really oversized pieces, but I'm trying to stay away from that because I have enough of 5 sizes too big garments, and I like to have more of like 3 sizes too big. And I think this is going to be one of these pieces. The yarn is Sannes Garn Tin Line in the color Pearl Grey, I think. And this is from another project that I unraveled that I knit 2 years ago, I think. It was a very long dress, like very meshy dress, and I never wore it because I don't have the occasion for that. But I really like the yarn. It's super nice. It's a linen cotton viscose blend, if I remember correctly. And this I knit with 2.5mm needles, which is a very slow process, but if you look at the stitch definition, I think it is absolutely worth it. It looks so good. Then I also started a new pair of socks. They are in this extremely beautiful dark olive green color, and I think the yarn is Drops Fable, if I remember correctly, and I'm doing a 2x2 rib with it. And I am actually planning to use this sock as the reference for writing my first ever knitting pattern, which is going to be my heavy duty sock pattern with the double knit heel construction. So I'm going to start the heel next, and I need to take some photos and like document the whole process so I have enough material to do a pattern for it, and that is really exciting. And now the most recent cast on is this. It doesn't look like much. It's just a rectangular piece of knitting, but this is going to be a summer poncho. I saw this on Ava Paula's channel, and she also made an Instagram post about how to do this type of poncho, and I'm following her instructions. I can link it somewhere. And I also got kind of the same yarn that she suggested, which is a linen viscose cotton blend in this gorgeous colorway. I'm completely obsessed with this color, and the yarn is in this kind of irregular pattern. And I also used some kind of hack to stop the bottom from curling up, because this is stockinette stitch, where you knit into the row below, or the row below that. You like pick up one of the stitches from there and knit that together with the stitch on your needle, and it works really well. It doesn't roll up, and it looks very neat because it makes the bottom a tiny bit thicker. So you just knit 2 rectangular pieces and sew them together in a special way, and you get this kind of asymmetric poncho thing that you can just throw on top of other things you're wearing. And I think that's a really cool thing to have for the summer. So I am really excited to continue knitting on that. So didn't talk about the books I've been reading for a while, so let's get into that. I think the last book I talked on here was Olga Tokarczuk Ampusion. I still don't know how to say it. And I finished that, and it is phenomenal. It is almost as good as Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, which was one of my absolute favorite books of 2025. And Ampusion is really a really close-up run into that. It's fantastic. I really loved it. And after I finished reading that, I started The Lovers by Paolo Cognetti. He's an Italian author. I did like parts of it, but I really didn't like the main character. It's like some guy in his 40s who falls in love with a very much younger woman, and that's kind of icky to me. But I really like the scenery because it's set in the Italian Alps, and it's kind of a remote village where nothing really happens, and so that was really nice. I really liked the scenery, but everything else was fine, or I was annoyed with the characters. So the vibes were good, but it also really didn't stuck with me. It was an okay read for me. Then I read The Safe Keep by Jel van der Wouden. I hope I say that correctly. I don't speak Dutch. This was kind of hyped, I think. So many people read it and were like completely in love with it. And I honestly was a bit disappointed. I think the character development in this was kind of unrealistic, and also the relationship between the 2 main characters were unrealistic. At least to me, that's kind of personal, but I felt like they were lacking so much communication that what they were doing and the result of all of that was highly unrealistic. But maybe that's me and my lack of romantic understanding. I don't know, but it was kind of annoying to me. How this type of attraction was described was also, in a way, very cliche and annoying to me, so I wasn't really feeling it, to be honest. But also with this, I really loved the vibes. I liked the house and the garden and the surroundings. Like, I had really beautiful images of that in my mind. And it's not a bad book. It's beautifully written, but I didn't really like the story. And also I think the entire plot twist part of it was foreseeable, at least for me. I don't know if that's like a common thing. And I think if you're very aware of more recent European history, you will get the plot twist pretty early on. But yeah, it was also an okay read, but it also didn't really stuck with me. Next, I read The Fawn by Magda Szabo. This is a very pretty cover, and this I did enjoy. And I really liked the story in itself, but the way it was written was a bit exhausting for me because she jumps from different timelines all the time, and it's very confusing because also the characters aren't really explained, their relationship to each other, and then with the timeline jumps all the time, it's kind of confusing, and you'll only get the entire story at the end when every timeline comes to an end in a way, and then you finally know who the characters are and how they came into each other's lives. So that was a bit exhausting, to be honest. But after I read it and after I got the entire story, I really liked it. I do like her writing in general. I also read Abigail from her, which I enjoyed very much. I think she's very talented in painting a world. So I personally got a very clear picture of what the surroundings of the characters looked like and the locations that were described. So that was really impressive. Then I read Vera of Faith. This was a Christmas gift from my friend Rosie. And this one, I did like the writing and the language, and I also really liked the main character, and I think the portrayal of them was really good. I had a bit of an issue with the type of world building that was happening because it is a fictional world, like kind of a futuristic fictional world, but it is so close to our own reality that I didn't really get the idea why this was necessary. Nothing would have changed about the story and the characters and everything if it was just placed within our own reality. It was kind of unnecessary for me to do that. And I really didn't get why, because it was too similar. It's written from the perspective of a child, and it is highly suggested that this child is autistic. So that was really nice and funny for me to read, as I'm also autistic, so that was nice. Then I read Die Herrenausstatterin from Mariana Lecki. I don't think this is translated into English. It's a German book from a German author, and this is very funny, very absurd, very nice. If you speak German, I can highly recommend reading pretty much everything from her. I read some short stories so far and something else, I think. The way she writes and the way she uses language is very funny and very witty and intelligent, so I can recommend reading it. I also gave it to my mom and she also really enjoyed it. And lastly, I listened to the audiobook of Sense and Sensibility. I listened to it on YouTube, and it's read by Karen Savage, which is the most amazing name I have ever heard, and she reads amazing. It's so good. If you want to listen to any audiobook by Jane Austen. I think she also read Persuasion and maybe Pride and Prejudice, but I can highly recommend listening to her audiobook. It's really good. I did know the story in like the main parts from watching some movie adaptation. She's just very funny in describing these societal relationships and the way people interacted back then. It's just very comforting and funny. And now for the past 2 weeks I've been reading The Goldfinch. I think I've just read over half of it now, and in general I do think it's very good and I like it, but it doesn't really draw me in, and I don't like make a lot of progress with it, which is not my goal with reading, but I really like it when a book draws me in a way where I just throughout the day think of it and then have like the urge to continue reading it. With this I don't really have that. I do read every day before bed because that's like a habit and part of my routine, and I do that, but sometimes I will only read about 10 pages and then fall asleep. So yeah, but I think last night I actually read 70 pages because it did draw me in a way, and now today I already thought about it. I think now the story picked up a bit of pace, and also I'm more sucked into the story now. So I will probably talk about this when I'm finished, but these are all the books I've been reading, I think. Maybe I forgot something, I don't really know. I also kind of started reading Bonjour Tristesse, but in French. I did read it in English, I think, or was it German? I don't know, one of these. 2 years ago, I think. But I want to better my French, and I think a good way to do that is to read books in French that I already know in another language. So I don't have to worry about not getting the story or the plot, but focus more on the language. So I read about 4 pages of this. I learned French in school, but I do understand quite a lot, and if I read it, it's also fine. But if people talk, and French people tend to talk really fast, I do have some issues, and I also can't really talk myself. I think my pronunciation is pretty good, but I really don't know how to form any kind of phrases that make sense. So I hope this will help with that, and I would really love to be more fluent in French, also because I live pretty close to the French border, and it would be nice to be able to talk a bit with the people there. Also, someone asked what's going on with the hedgehog, and we released him and we haven't seen him since. I have no idea where he is. He probably went off, but also I really do hope he's doing fine, and he's like living his best wild life as he is supposed to, and he just roams through the neighborhood at night doing whatever he wants to do. So